Morning. How to get a good lead tone. Right? So, hot signal coming out of the guitar into a good boost or a preamp. Cut your bass going into your amp, digital or not. It also doesn't like high end too well, especially if it's a digital amp. And then, after the amp, you want to do your EQ where you add in your bass and all that stuff afterwards. But remember, your cabinet impulse that you choose or your cabinet in real life is going to have a drastic effect on your tone. So start with amp controls at noon, all straight up. And, how hot the output signal from your guitar going into the amp matters. So that's why a lot of people use a booster or a preamp, or even just a basic distortion pedal going into the amp, and then you use your tone stack from there on the amp to help. And usually for leads, you're going to cut out a lot of the high end, right? Because you don't want super ear piercing stuff going on, because when you're doing all leads and you have it really loud, like for a live audience, that's when you really want to cut all that crap out of there. But as far as like reverb and stuff at the end, it usually is going to depend on the space you're in, right? So like in this room, you're not hearing anything back right now because it's just really loud. If I actually play through my amp and cab, which I will have videos on that soon. It's just early morning, so I got the headphones going on. So everything you hear is direct coming from the Tone X pedal. So it's like, guitar, boost, or pre or distortion pedal into an amp. And then after that amp, you have your EQ, maybe a slight bit of compression to help give up that low end a little more, the quiet parts as well. And then you're going to run your cabinet after that, So really, it's not that hard to do. You just cut out a lot of the bull crap before the amp, and then you put it back in afterwards with your EQ. Or you use the amps on board EQ to help give you that low end and the mid range. You kind of dial back the treble a little bit, but you increase the presence, right? Because your presence on an amp is your high frequency content. So the more presence you add, the more available total high end there will be, a bigger bandwidth of your frequencies. Same with resonance. If you have a resonance control on your amp, that's going to control all of the low end, right? Or that's going to give you a wider range of low end. And that's why for rhythm guitars, you're going to have, for metal anyways, and hard rock and roll, you're going to have a lot of the mids maybe scooped a little bit. You're going to boost your lows, but that's going to make you fight for volume. I personally suggest running a bunch of mids, a little mid boost, if you will, into the front of the preamp or into the front of your amp. Because a lot of distortion pedals or preamps will actually boost your mid-range going in, cut out the bass, and tame your high end a little bit going into the amp. And then on the amp, you can add your presence, you can add your resonance, maybe a little more mids, because your mids is where it is, guys. The mids, it's all about the mids, right? And noise gates, man. I don't use any. They mess with your tone usually, but if you finagle it right for rhythm, you probably do need some. But I usually run all of my noise gates after the amp itself, because that way it can't mess with the transient response and the dynamics that the amp is going to produce. So my rhythm tones, I do use a little bit of a noise gate, just because, in modern metal, it's a quick start stop kind of thing, But right now, I'm not using any noise gate because I'm in ears, and it's not detriment to the audience experience, and the notes will last indefinitely. I like notes lasting indefinitely. And you have a volume knob on your guitar. Use it. Don't be scared, guys. Use your volume knob. If it's too hot, or if you're on stage, you're like, dude, that's just too much noise, you can hear the noise a little bit and dial it back. It'll clean up your rhythm a little bit too, if you really need to. Otherwise, full volume, crank that lead. Just let it ring. How to get a good lead tone. Oh, most of my viewers and everything that I'm seeing on here are people who are not subscribed. So please, dude, help me keep this thing going, man. I'm going to make some cool stuff. Like, subscribe, leave some comments. Please, it really helps. It's going to carry things a long way. And I'm going to invest further in things and get some more cameras and some better stuff going on. But right now, this is what it is. I'm kind of just getting this thing off the ground. But, I have a lot of things to share with you guys over the next coming months and even more. I've been planning out a lot of stuff. So, guys, please like, please subscribe, leave some comments, and we'll keep this thing going. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.